तमें श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांच श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्तं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So Hare Krishna everybody. So today we are, as Janmashtami is approaching, so we'll discuss from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This is a very big topic, 64 topics in 1.5 hours, not so easy. So, Rupa Goswami, he explains in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that Krishna has 4 extra qualities. Today, first we'll discuss as far as possible 60 and 4 qualities will go small in brief. So just to save time, I will not read out that 64 qualities in the beginning. So we'll start with the qualities only. So Rupa Goswami explains above 60 qualities, Krishna has 4 qualities which Krishna manifests only in Vrindavan. That is, they are called Leela Madhurya, then Bhakti Madhurya, then Rupa Madhurya, and Venu Madhurya. So also in the Bhagavatam, there are a good number of verses where it is mentioned that it is not only Krishna has 64 qualities. So Krishna has unlimited qualities which cannot be counted. So in the Bhagavatam 8th canto, one verse which explains that although the great activities and transcendental qualities of Supreme Personal Godhead, various incarnations are wonderfully described, sometimes we are unable to understand them. Yet everything is possible for Vishnu. If one could count the atoms of the universe, then he could count the qualities of the Supreme Personal Godhead. But no one can count the atoms of the universe, nor can anyone count the transcendental qualities of the Lord. This 8.5.6. Also, there's one very beautiful verse in the 10th canto wherein Brahma, he glorifies the Lord, in which he explains that in time, learned philosophers or scientists might be able to count all the atoms of the earth, the particles of snow, or perhaps even the shining molecules radiating from the sun, the stars, and the other luminaries. But among these learned men, who could possibly count the unlimited transcendental qualities possessed by you, the Supreme Personal Godhead, who have descended unto the surface of the earth for the benefit of the living entities? So this is what Brahma mentions. So here, what we see that today, as we are going to discuss about the 64 qualities of Lord Krishna. So I'll briefly go through, because usually we take 1 or 2 qualities in one class, but because just to continue just with 1 or 2 qualities for a long period of time, it is difficult. So first I'll read out the quality, then Rupa Goswami has given the definition of that quality, then I'll speak about that. So first quality, it is mentioned that he has beautiful features on his entire body. Krishna is very beautiful as the moon. His thighs are powerful, just like the trunk of elephant. His arms are just like 2 pillars. His palms are expanded like lotus flowers. His chest is just like a doorway. His hips are dense, and the middle of his body is a terrace. So this is a small example given. So if we see material world also, when it comes to beauty, there are so many definitions given. It is all immaterial. But in this thing, Brahma Samhita, Brahma explains Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. that Krishna's beauty is compared to Kandarpa means the this thing Kamadev. This is the Lord of love. So Kandarpa Koti means like 1 crore. So more beautiful than the Kandarpa. In the material world, what we see, we are attracted, especially Brahma has made the living entity into two forms, male and female. So this way, here what it is mentioned that his bodily features on the body, there are very beautiful features in the body. So in material world, we see there are animals, birds, so many varieties of species are there. So they have certain bodily beautiful features. You see, even the peacock is very beautiful, but the sound is not so much appreciated. Whereas if you see, there is one bird called Maina. It's very blackish, but it makes its sound is very beautiful. So material world, there is a disparity in the quality and in the appearance, but in Krishna, everything goes good. Then second, Rup Goswami explains, marked with all auspicious characteristics. So here Rup Goswami explains, one friend of Nanda Maharaj speaking about Lord Krishna's auspicious bodily symptoms said, my dear king of the cowherd, I can find 32 auspicious symptoms on the body of your son. I am wondering how this boy could have taken his birth in a family of cowherd men. So now here again we see the cowherd men when they came to see Lord Krishna, that they could see that one cowherd man he could see 32 wonderful qualities. So this is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also, bodily features. So there are 32 bodily features mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here that same thing is explained by one cowherd man to Nanda Maharaj. So then we go to the third quality that he is extremely pleasing to all. So when King Yudhishthira was performing the Rajasuya sacrifice, all important personalities from different parts of the universe had been invited to the sacrificial arena, and all of them, upon beholding Krishna there, considered that the Creator had ended all of his craftsmanship in the creation of this particular body of Krishna. So now here, if we see, no one has created Krishna's body. Krishna is the cause of himself, that we should know. And there is nothing beyond Krishna. Krishna explains, Matta Smriti, Matta Paratanam Nanyat. There is nothing beyond Krishna. So material world, what we see today, people, and especially they in when it comes to material body, they try to uh, find out nice features in the body. Especially there is a competition for females, males, and all. But we should understand, in material sense, our body is it is completely covered with so many disgusting elements. But Krishna's body is Satchidananda. Actually, in our body, the soul is Satchidanand, but Krishna's complete body is Satchidanand. So here, somebody commented that, yes, Krishna's body, the craftsmanship, what he explains, the creator has taken special care in making the body. Then fourth quality, his complete body is effulgent. It is mentioned that the effulgence pervading the universe is considered to be the rays of the Supreme Personal Godhead. The Supreme Abode of Krishna is always throwing off the effulgence known as Brahma Jyoti, and that effulgence is emanating from Krishna's body. So we should understand that Krishna is understood or can be realized in three features: Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan iti Shabdati. So for impersonalist, for them it is like a complete light. For Paramatma that Krishna is Paramatma, and for the devotees he is a person. So basically, it is mentioned that complete the Brahma Jyoti, the effulgence which is coming, it is mentioned that it is coming from Krishna's body, and this complete universe is covered with that effulgence. Then we come to the fifth quality. His body is completely strong. So Rup Goswami explains, a person who has extraordinary bodily strength is called Baliyan. When Krishna killed Aristasura, some of the gopis said, my dear friends, just see how Krishna has killed Aristasura. Although he was stronger than a mountain, Krishna plucked him up just like a piece of cotton and threw him away without any difficulty. Now, I did not to go in very in depth. What you see in Vrindavan, all the pastimes enacted by Lord Krishna from his childhood. So it is mentioned that when Putna came to kill Krishna, so that time Krishna was just 7 days old. Then further, when other demons came, we see Shaktasura, that time Krishna was 6 months. When Tranavat came, Krishna was like 1 year old. And when Krishna lifted Govardhan, he just entered the Pauganda age. That is, he entered the 6th year of his life. And Krishna was holding the Govardhan for almost 7 days. So this way we can understand that his body is completely strong, but we should understand that there are so many universes in this material world which are all held by Krishna's expansion, that is Ananta Shesh. Then further we have example that Rup Goswami explains, he is always youthful. The force of Krishna's youth was combined with his beautiful smile, which defeated even beauty of full moon. He was always nicely dressed, in beauty surpassing even Cupid. He was always attracting the minds of the gopis, who were thereby always feeling pleasure. So now, if we see Krishna's beauty, it is called Nava Yauvana. And if we see in Krishna's manifest pastime, Krishna's body from childhood until he is now Yavana, there are 5 stages mentioned. That is childhood, Balya. After that, Balya is from birth until age 3. Then Kaumara, that is 3 to 5. Then Kaishora, then Pauganda, Kaishora, then now Yavana. And Prabhupada writes, although Krishna, he was in Vrindavan until the age of 12, so but he was looking very grown up, because certain children we see, their growing rate is very fast. Average, if we take the average, certain children, they grow very fast because of their body metabolism. But our body material world, what we see, our body grows until the age of 21. Then gradually there is a decline. The body is steady for some time. Then gradually after 50, the hair start whitening. Then all other degradation starts in the body. But that doesn't apply to Lord Krishna and his associates. What we see when Krishna, he basically in material world, when he manifests his pastimes, at that time he's showing his different bodily ages. But in spiritual world, Krishna and his associates, including Radharani and all the gopis, they are completely and now Yavan. Basically, Krishna and his the similar age people. But whereas Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, they have different age, but they don't grow beyond that. Like we have the example of Chatush Kumar, the children of Brahma. So they have a vidya by which they don't grow beyond 4 years. But in Krishna's transcendental abode, Krishna is always Sachidanand. That we should understand. Then seventh quality, it is mentioned that he is a wonderful linguist. A linguist means a person who knows the languages of different countries, especially Sanskrit language, which is spoken in all cities of the demigods, as well as other worldly languages, including those of animals, birds, and is called a wonderful linguist. What we see in during Krishna's pastimes, Krishna could call the cows. There is one place called Ter Kadam at Nandagaon. So Krishna used to climb this tree and he used to call all the cows in just one sound of the flute. And there are a good number of pastimes we see Krishna could understand the language of other animals also. Even it is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Vrindavan, two parrots, they flew, one male and one female, and they sat on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's hands, and they started glorifying Radharani and Krishna. Also, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was coming to Vrindavan through Jharkhand, he could see so many animals and he could tell them to chant Hare Krishna. So Lord Krishna, he is a wonderful linguist, means he can understand all the languages. One time Prabhupada, he told his disciples that they need not to be master of some language like Sanskrit and other thing. In whatever language you pray the Lord will understand. We need not to worry about that. So Prabhupada gives an example: when there is a fire in some house, anyone can understand by the bodily language. So similarly, Lord Krishna, he's a very wonderful linguist in the sense he can understand all the languages. And today in this material world, we know there are so many varieties of languages. There are sign languages. uh, then there are languages for the blind, whatever it is. So Krishna, we should understand that he can understand everyone's language. He's a very wonderful linguist. Then we have eighth quality is called he is always truthful in all situations. So Rup Goswami explains a person whose words of honor is never broken is called truthful. Krishna once promised Kunti, the mother of Pandavas, that he would bring her five sons back from the battlefield of Kurukshetra. After the battle was finished, when all the Pandavas had come, Kunti praised Krishna because his promise was so nicely fulfilled. So we see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna he tells Arjuna, you make this verdict. Kaunteya pratijani na me bhakta pranashyati. So we should understand that Krishna he always keeps his words. Only we should have that realization. It is not that we are asking for some material things. Krishna, today I want this thing, that thing. No. So we are not qualified that for that. But when Krishna reciprocates with his devotees, he always keeps his words. So then we go to the next ninth quality. He always talks pleasingly with all. This is another wonderful quality everyone should learn. So Rup Goswami explains a person who can speak sweetly even with his enemy just to pacify him is called a pleasing talker. Krishna was such a pleasing talker that after defeating his enemy Kaliya in the water of the Yamuna, he said, my dear king of the snakes, although I have given you so much pain, please do not be dissatisfied with me. It is my duty to protect these cows which are worshipped even by the demigods. Only in order to save them from the danger of your presence have I been obliged to banish you from this place. So here what we see, Krishna, he spoke in a very pleasing manner to Kaliya when he punished Kaliya. And there are so many other instances in Bhagavatam. Sometimes Krishna, he spoke little rough with some demons, and sometimes he spoke very pleasingly, like when he went to Jarasandha with Bhima and Arjuna. So that time Jarasandha, he could understand, yes, this Krishna is my enemy. But Krishna was speaking in a very pleasing manner with Jarasandha. Also, we have so many instances when Krishna he came as a peace messenger to Duryodhana. That time Krishna also spoke very lovingly. So there are so many pastimes because time doesn't permit. So Krishna is always speaks with a pleasing to all. His speaking is very pleasing to all. Then he's a fluent person. So Rup Goswami explains what exactly who is a fluent person. A person who can speak meaningful words and with all politeness and good qualities is called Vauduk or fluent. There is a nice statement in Srimad Bhagavatam regarding Krishna speaking politely. When Krishna politely bade his father, Nanda Maharaj, to stop the ritualistic offerings of the sacrifices to the rain god Indra, a wife of a village covered man became captivated. She later thus described the speaking of Krishna to her friends. Krishna was speaking to his father so politely and gently that it was as if he were pouring nectar into the ears of all present there. So now, if we see children, they are very curious. So when Krishna he enacted this pastime of lifting Govardhan, before that, Krishna was seeing that covered men they were collecting a good number of paraphernalia. And one day Krishna spoke to Nanda Maharaj. Yes, my father, what you are doing? I am a family member. I should know what is happening. So ultimately, there a meeting was called by Nanda Maharaj, and in the meeting, all the Brajavasis were present, and all the Brajavasis they said, whatever your son says, you should agree. So here, what we see, it is mentioned that Krishna spoke in such a fluent manner that everyone agreed with him. Then he is highly learned person. 11th quality. When a person is highly educated and acts strictly on moral principles, he is called highly learned. A person conversant in different departments of knowledge is called educated. And because he acts on moral principles, he is called morally stout. Together, these two factors constitute learning. So here Rup Goswami explains that when a person he was educated and first is he acts on moral principles. Hmm? And he explains that second is that he a person conversant in different departments of knowledge is called educated. So in material world what we see there are different knowledges are there, but to find a completely educated highly learned person very difficult. In mundane sense we see we call it as IQ. What they say, there was one scientist and he was highly intelligent and his IQ was the highest, Einstein, what they say. But there is one pastime in the life of Einstein, that Einstein one time he was sitting in his lab and the door was closed and a boy came, about 5 years old boy, and he that boy he saw that door had two small holes, one small hole and one big hole. The small hole was in the down, and above that, that large hole was there. So when the child went inside that Einstein's laboratory, so the child was curious. He asked Einstein, "Sir, why you have made these two holes in this door?" So Einstein he said, "See, I have one cat and a kitten. Sometimes they bother me. So just to not bother me always, I have made these holes, one for the cat and one for the kitten." The small boy who was 5 years old, he told Einstein that you are a fool. So Einstein he was taken back. He said, "How come you say you call me fool?" He said that one big hole was sufficient. How much time it takes for a kitten and cat to enter? So why you have made two holes? One hole was big hole, large hole was sufficient. So Einstein he could understand. Yes, he said, yes, I'm really fool. So thank you for correcting me. So a wise person, when he's corrected, he accepts the fact. So Krishna is highly learned, then he is highly intelligent person. Now, what exactly intelligent? Rup Goswami explains. A man is called intelligent if his sharp memory and fine discretion. As far as Krishna's memory is concerned, it is said that when he was studying in the school of Sandipani Muni in Avantipur, he showed such a sharp memory that by once taking instructions from the teacher, he immediately became perfect in any subject. Actually, he's going to the school of Sandipani Muni was to show the people of the world that however great or ingenious one may be, he must go to a higher authorities for general education. However great one may be, he must accept a teacher or spiritual master. So Rup Goswami here mentions that Krishna, actually Krishna and Balramji, when they killed Kamsa and his brother, so after some times, Krishna and Balramji, they were sent to this Avantipur by his father Vasudev and Devaki. So there, Krishna Balramji, they studied for 64 days. And it is mentioned that every day they learned one new art. And by evening, they were ready to give the what is a written exam or the practical. They were by the evening they were expert in that whatever they had learned. This way they learned 64 different arts that sometimes we'll tell. So this is it is here the Rupa Goswami explains that Krishna is he learned 64 arts in the Sandipani Muni school. And then further, he is a genius person. A person is called a genius when he can refute any kind of opposing elements with newer and newer arguments. In this connection, there is a statement in Padyavali which contains following conversation between Krishna and Radharani. Once, one morning, when Krishna came to Radha, Radha asked him, "My dear Keshava, where is your Vasa at present?" The Sanskrit word Vasa has three meanings. One meaning is residence, one meaning is fragrance, and another meaning is dress. So there are a good number of pastimes in Vrindavan. There is one place called Kosi. So there also similar pastime took place. Like one time Krishna he came and he said, "Please open the door." Radharani asked, "Who is there?" Krishna said, "I am Hari." So Radharani said, "Hari, you are a lion. What you are doing here? You are supposed to be in the forest." So this way, there are a good number of pastimes where a person can refute another person by different words. It is like a word jugglery. So in Vrindavan pastimes, there are a good number of pastimes of Radharani and Krishna. They are doing this juggling of words. It's called a genius person. Then he is a good artistic person, one who can talk and dress himself very artistically is called Vidagdha. This example characteristics was visible in personality of Krishna. It is spoken by Radharani as follows: "My dear friend, just see how Krishna has nicely composed songs and how he dances and speaks funny words and plays on his flute, wearing such nice garlands. He has dressed himself in such an enchanting way as though he had defeated all kinds of players at the chess board." So here Radharani is praising Lord Krishna about his dressing himself. So in Krishna's cowherding pastimes, every day Krishna morning he comes to Govardhan, and there again he decorates. Although Krishna is decorated by Yashoda from the house, but all the cowherd boys they decorate Krishna when they come to the forest with forest flowers, and also at Govardhan they get different varieties of colors. With that they paint different paintings on Krishna's shoulder or on the face. So here it is called he's a very artistic person. Then he is extremely clever person. So Rupa Goswami explains a person who can perform various types of work at once is called clever. In this connection, One of the gopis said, "My dear friends, just see the clever activities of Sri Krishna. He has composed nice songs about the cowherd boys and he's pleasing the cows. By the moment of his eyes, he's pleasing the gopis, and at the same time, he's fighting with demon like Aristasura. In this way, he's sitting with different living entities in different ways, and he's thoroughly enjoying the situation." So, in today's world, it is mentioned that in computer language they call multitasking. Multitasking means whereby you can do a good number of works. Like in the kitchen, sometimes some ladies they can cook 3 or 4 items, sometimes even 5 items they can cook simultaneously. So that is called clever. Clever means multitasking. So also Krishna, there are a good number of verses wherein it is mentioned that when Krishna he went to the forest, he used to enjoy all the situations in the Vrindavan forest. It is mentioned that one time Krishna was little away and he was enjoying the forest of Vrindavan. So all the cowherd boys they were little away. They made one competition to touch Krishna, and they said, "Now we'll race and we'll see who will first go and touch Krishna." So here, what we see, Krishna he is doing multiple works at one time. So such person is called clever person who can do. We see some people in today's world also they do certain tricks, walking on a rope or walking blindfold. So many things are there. So, but Krishna, during his pastimes, he used to do a good number of multiple tasks. That is called extremely clever person. Then 16th quality is mentioned that he is very expert person. Any person who can quickly execute a difficult task is called expert. About the expertise of Krishna, there is a statement in the 10th canto of 59th chapter, verse 17th of Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein Sukdev Goswami tells Maharaj Parikshit, "O best of the Kurus, Sri Krishna cut to pieces all the different weapons used by different fighters." So here, actually, Parikshit Maharaj is telling Sukdev Goswami how Krishna he clearly cut all the weapons very expertly used by different warriors. In Kurukshetra war, also we see when Krishna was there in Dwarka, a good number of demons used to attack there. There also Krishna used to fight the war with the opponents. It's called very expert person. Then 17th quality, he is very grateful person. So Rup Goswami explains any person who is conscious of his friend's beneficent activities and never forgets his service is called grateful. In the Mahabharata, Krishna says, "When I was away from Draupadi, she cried with words, Hey Govinda, this call for me has put me in her debt, and that indebtedness is gradually increasing in my heart." This statement by Krishna gives evidence of how one can please the Supreme Lord simply by addressing him, Hey Krishna, Hey Govinda. So there are a good number of pastimes again in this regard also, but time doesn't allow us. So Krishna is always grateful to the devotees for their service rendered. Like in Vrindavan, there's one pastime. Like one time, Krishna he was playing his flute, and the peacocks they became very happy. They started dancing, and when the evening came, when Krishna was going, so the peacocks they gave one by one this peacock feather. So Krishna he felt very grateful. Then he took these feathers and he put it on the head. So that is called grateful. So now we'll come to the next quality.
అయిపోద్ది మళ్ళీ రేపు ఇంకోసారి
Hare Krishna, switch off the mic. So now next quality is called he is expert the of the and a time, place, and circumstance. So here it is mentioned that Krishna is the expert of the time, place, and circumstance. Now, Rup Goswami explains that Krishna was very expert in dealing with the people according to circumstances, country, time, and paraphernalia. How he could take advantage of a particular time, circumstance, and person is expressed by him while talking to Uddhava about his Ras dance with the gopis. He says the most opportune time is the full moon time, night at autumn, like tonight. The best place within the universe is Vrindavan, and the most beautiful girls are the gopis. So, my dear friend Uddhava, I think I should now take the advantage of these circumstances and engage myself in the Ras dance. So here, Rup Goswami, he writes that how Krishna is expert judge of all circumstances and time. Then we'll go to the next quality. He speaks on the authority of the scriptures. Rup Goswami explains a person who acts exactly according to the tenets of the scriptures is called Shastra Chakshu. Shastra Chakshu means one who sees through the eyes of the authorized scriptures. Actually, any person, a person of knowledge and experience should be seeing through these books. For example, with our naked eyes, we perceive the sun globe simply as some glaring substance. But when we see through authorized books of science and other literature, we can understand how much greater the sun globe is than the earth and how it is powerful. So here it is mentioned that a person who speaks according to the authority of the scriptures, he is the true in one sense. So wherever we go, whatever we speak, it should be based on the authority. So Prabhupada, he often told that the devotees, they should be like the lawyers in the court. They quote some authority. So similarly, we should be expert in quoting the authority. Then he is always in pure consciousness. Rup Goswami explains there are two kinds of supreme purity. When one type is possessed, one is able to deliver a sinful person. When another type is possessed, one does not do anything which is impure. A person who possesses either of these qualities is called supremely pure. Krishna is both. He can deliver all sinful conditioned soul, and at the same time, he never does anything which he can be by which he can be contaminated. So here, what we see, pure in consciousness means there are two aspects. Rup Goswami explains that one can deliver a sinful person, and another is that one who doesn't get wet. That is what is he gives the definition of purity. Then he is self-controlled person. Swarup Goswami explains that a person who can control his senses fully is called Vasi or self-control. In this connection, it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, all the 16,000 wives of Krishna were so exquisitely beautiful that their smiling and shyness were able to captivate the minds of great demigods like Shiva, but still they could not even agitate the mind of Krishna in spite of their attractive female behavior. So here Krishna is called self-controlled. Even we have pastimes in Vrindavan, Krishna, he left the gopis. Then he is steadfast person. So Rup Goswami explains, a person who continues to work until his desired goal is achieved is called steadfast. There was a fight between Krishna and Jambavan, and Krishna was was to take the valuable Shamantaka jewel from the king. The king tried to hide himself in the forest, but Krishna would not become discouraged. Krishna finally got the jewel by seeking it out from out the king with great steadfastness. So Rup Goswami gives this example. So what we see, this Shamantak pastime is very big, but Krishna and Jambavan, they fought for 28 days. On the 28th day, Jambavan could understand, yes, he can't study now, can be steadfast, and he surrendered. Then we have his quality, he's called that he is a forbearing person, a person who tolerates all kinds of trouble, even though such troubles appear to be unbearable, is called forbearing. When Krishna was residing at the place of his spiritual master, he did not mind taking all troubles in rendering service to his guru, although his body was very soft and delicate. It is the duty of the disciple to execute the services unto the spiritual master despite all kinds of difficulties. The disciple living at the residence of spiritual master has to go begging from door to door, bring and everything back to the spiritual master. So there are pastimes like one time Krishna and Sudama, they went to the forest and it started raining, and they had to stay in the night in the forest. Throughout the night it was raining. Then he is highly forgiving. A person who can tolerate all kinds of offenses from opposite party is known as forgiving. Lord Krishna's forgiving qualities is described in the Shishupal Vada. In this connection, with his forbearing and the killing of Shishupal, King Shishupal was the monarch of the Chedi kingdom, and although he happened to be the cousin of Krishna's, he was always envious of him. Whenever they would meet, Shishupal would try to insult Krishna and call him ill names as much as possible. So we have here Rupa Goswami explains Krishna, every day he forgave Shishupal. It is mentioned that when Shishupal was born, this is also another big pastime, but the mother of Shishupal, she begged Krishna, please forgive my son. Krishna, he said, on an average, I will tolerate 100 bad words. I will not tolerate beyond 100 words. And in Rasuya Yagya, when Shishupal, he crossed 100, so then only Krishna, he cut his head. Then he is a grave person. A person who does not express his mind to everyone or whose mental activity and plan of action are very difficult to understand is called grave. After Lord Krishna had been offended by Brahma, Brahma prayed to him to be excused. But in spite of his offering nice prayers to Krishna, Brahma could not understand whether Krishna was satisfied or still dissatisfied. In other words, Krishna was so grave that he did not take the prayers of Brahma so seriously. So here, grave means it's very difficult to understand what this person is going through. So one of our Maharaj, he was visiting Vrindavan. So he told Brahma, he has four heads. Brahma cannot understand Krishna. How we can understand Krishna? So then we have, he is self-satisfied person. A person who is fully satisfied in himself without any hankering and who is not agitated even in the presence of serious case for distress is called self-satisfied. An example of Krishna's self-satisfaction was exhibited when Arjuna and Bhima went to challenge Jarasandha, the formidable king of Magadha, and Krishna gave all credit to Bhima for killing of Jarasandha. From this, we can understand that Krishna never cares for at all for fame, although no one can care for can be more famous. So Krishna was satisfied. So Krishna didn't take any credit. Even what we see Mahabharata war, Krishna, he didn't take any credit for that. Then he is a person possessing equilibrium. So here, equilibrium, here we see, Rupa Goswami explains, a person who is unaffected by attachment and envy is said to be possess equilibrium. An example of equilibrium is given in Srimad Bhagavatam in connection with he chastising Kaliya, the 100-headed serpent, while Kaliya was being severely punished. All his wives appeared before Lord and prayed for him. Then he is magnanimous person. Any person who is very charitably disposed is called magnanimous. When Krishna was reigning over Dwarka, he was so magnanimous and charitably disposed that there was no limit to his charity. In fact, so great was his charity in Dwarka that even the spiritual kingdom, with all its opulence, Chintamani, touchstone, desire trees, and Surabhi cows, was surpassed. So it is mentioned that Krishna from his 16,108 palaces, he used to give charity every day. So it is mentioned that from each palace, Krishna gave 13,024 cows every day. Then he is very religious person, a person who personally practices the tenets of religion as they are enjoined in the Shastras, and who also teaches them to others. The same principle is called religious. Simply professing a kind of faith is not a sign of religiousness. One must act according to religious principles, and by his personal example, he should teach others. Such a person is to be understood to be religious. So, here, a person who is uh, acting according to the dharma is called religious. Then he is a heroic person. A person is very enthusiastic in military activity and expert in releasing different kinds of weapons is called heroic. Regarding Krishna's heroism in fighting, there is the following statement: My dear killer of the enemy, just as the elephant, while taking bath in the lake, destroys all the lotus stems within the water by swinging its trunk. So simply by moving your arms with which are compared to the trunks of elephant, you have killed so many lotuses like enemies, like Jarasandha, and when he attacked Mathura, all his soldiers. He is very compassionate person. A person who is unable to bear another's distress is called compassionate. Krishna's compassion for distressed person was exhibited when he released all the kings imprisoned by the king of Magda. Jarasandh had imprisoned more than 20,000 kings to be offered to Lord Shiva as a Bali. Lord Krishna, he released them and he freed them. Then he is very respectful person, a person who shows adequate respect to a spiritual master, a brahmana, and old person is to be understood as being respectful. So here the criteria is given: spiritual master, brahmana, and they are to be given proper respect. And when superior persons assembled before Krishna, Krishna first of all offered respects to his spiritual master, then his father, then to his elder brother Balram. In this way, Lord Krishna, he offered his respect. Then he is very gentle person. Rupa Goswami explains, any person who is neither becomes impudent nor exhibits a puffed up nature is called gentle. So it is mentioned that Krishna always he offered pranam to Yudhishthira Maharaj before Yudhishthira Maharaj. So oftentimes Yudhishthira Maharaj felt uneasy. Then 35 quality, 35th quality is he is very liberal person. Any person who by his natural behavior very mild is called liberal. A statement by Uddhava after the Shamantaka jewel plundering confirms that Krishna is so kind and favorable that if a servitor is accused even of great offense, Krishna does not take this into consideration. He simply considers the service that is rendered by the person. Then he is very shy person. A person who sometimes exhibits humility and bashfulness is called shy. As described in the Lalita Madhava, Krishna's shyness was manifest when he lifted Govardhan hill by the little finger of his left hand. All the gopis were observing Krishna's wonderful achievement, and Krishna was also smiling at seeing the gopis. So this pastime is also, it is mentioned that one time Balram saw Krishna was looking at the gopis, and somehow Krishna he felt little shy. Then he is a protector of surrendered soul. Krishna is the protector of all surrendered souls. Some enemies of Krishna was enlivened with the thought that he need not fear Krishna, because if he simply surrenders unto him, Krishna would give him all protection. Krishna is sometimes compared to the moon, which does not hesitate to distribute its soothing rays even in the house of the Chandalas and the untouchables. Then he is very happy person. Any person who's always joyful and untouched by any distress is called happy. As far as Krishna's enjoyment is concerned, it is stated that the ornaments which decorates his body of Krishna and his queens were beyond the dreams of Kuvera, the treasure of heavenly kingdom. The constant dancing before the doors of Krishna's palace was not to be imagined even by the treasures of the heavenly kingdom. So he is the well-wisher of a devotee. Rupa Goswami explains, it is said that Krishna's devotees that if they offer a little water or a tulsi leaf in devotion to Lord Vishnu, Vishnu is so kind that he will sell himself to such a Krishna's devotee. Krishna's favoritism towards his devotee was exhibited in his fight with Bhishma. When grandfather Bhishma was lying at the point of death on the bed, arrows, Krishna was present before him. Bhishma was thinking how Krishna had been kind to him on the battlefield. So then he is controlled by the devotee's love. So Krishna becomes obliged to the loving spirit of the devotee and not exactly to the service rendered. No one can serve Krishna completely. He is so complete and self-sufficient that he has no need of any service from the devotees. So here what we say, Krishna is controlled by the devotee's love. That is why Krishna is called Bhavagrahi Janardhan. Then he is all auspicious person. A person who is always engaged in auspicious welfare activities for everyone is known as all auspicious. Then 42 quality, he is the most powerful person. A person who can always put his enemy into calamities is called powerful. So here Goswami explains one who can put his enemy into calamity is called powerful person. Then he is all famous person. A person who becomes well known due to his spotless character is called famous. So Krishna is famous. Krishna has six opulences. Then he is a very popular person. Any person who is very dear to people in general is called popular. That is the definition given by Rupa Goswami. Then he is partial to his devotees. So although Krishna is supreme person of Godhead and is therefore not partial to anyone, it is stated in Bhagavad Gita that he has special attractant for his devotees' worship. So Krishna, we see there are a good number of pastimes wherein Krishna he took the part of his side of his devotees. Either it is killing Bhishma or Jarasandha. Krishna was partial on the devotees' side. He is very attractive to all women. So Krishna, we know Krishna, he can enchant all the women. This is also mentioned by Rupa Goswami. A devotee made the following statement about queens of Dwarka. How shall I describe the glories of the queens of Dwarka, who were personally engaged in the service of the Lord? Then he is all worshipable person. Rupa Goswami explains a person who is respected and worshipped by all kinds of human beings and demigods is called Sarva Aradhya, all worshipable. And he is all opulent person. Krishna is full in all opulences, namely strength, wealth, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Then 49 quality, he is all honorable person. Rupa Goswami explains a person who is chief among all important persons is called honorable. When Krishna was living at Dwarka, demigods like Shiva and Brahma, Indra, king of heaven, or many others used to come to visit him. Their doorkeeper, sometimes they said that you have to wait. Then he is the supreme controller. There are two kinds of controllers or lords. One is independent called controller, and the other whose orders cannot be neglected is called controller. Then he is changeless person. Krishna does not change his constitutional position, not even when he appears in this material world. So Krishna is always Krishna. Then he is all cognizant, 52. So any person who can understand the feelings of all persons and incidents is all, of all places at all times, is called all cognizant. Then 53, Krishna is ever fresh person. Krishna is always remembered and his name is always chanted. So what we see, Krishna, he spoke Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is now also fresh. So here it is mentioned that Krishna is always fresh. Then he has an eternal blissful body. Krishna's transcendental body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Then he possesses all mystic perfection. There are many standards of perfection. The highest perfection are obtained by perfect yogis. There are 9 prakars of siddhis are there, but everything is there in Krishna. Then Krishna has inconceivable potencies. Krishna is present everywhere, not only within this universe, not only within the heart of living entities, but also within every atom. Then Krishna has inconceivable potencies. We have done. Then unlimited universes come from his body. This is 57. Then 58, he is the original source of all incarnations. So Bhagavatam, first canto, third chapter, Ete cha amsa kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swam. So we should understand. So all other incarnations, they are coming from Krishna, but Krishna is the source of all the incarnations. Then he gives salvation to the killed enemies. So in Vrindavan pastimes, we have so many demons. So Krishna, he gave salvation to almost all the demons who were killed in the Vrindavan pastimes. Then also it is the 60th quality is that he is the attractor of liberated souls. And there are many examples of how Krishna attracted even great liberated souls like Sukdev Goswami, the Kumaras. In this connection, the following statement was given by the Kumaras. How wonderful is that although we are completely liberated, free from desire and situated at the stage of Paramahansa, we are still aspiring to taste the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, Narad Muni, he speaks to a nice verse, Vyamna loke bati bhura bhaga. So he tells Yudhishthira Maharaj that now because Krishna is living at your palace, now what you see, all these demigods and all the sages, they are coming here. They are coming because they are completely attracted to Krishna. So on that basis, and this is just an excuse, they are coming here. So now, just in 2 minutes, we'll briefly discuss these 4 extra qualities of Lord Krishna. Some other times I may elaborate. So the first 61 is called Leela Madhurya. In the Brihad Vamana Purana, the Lord says, although I have many fascinating pastimes, whenever I think of the Ras Leela, which I performed with the gopis, I become eager to have again. One devotee has said, I know about Narayan, the husband of the goddess of fortune, and I also know about many of other incarnations of the Lord. Certainly, all the pastimes of such incarnations are exciting to my mind. But still, the pastimes of Ras Leela performed by Lord Krishna himself are wonderfully increasing the transcendental pastimes. So Krishna has one quality called Leela Madhurya, that which he shows in Vrindavan only. Then Bhakta Madhurya, surrounded by devotees. When we speak of Krishna, Krishna is not alone. Krishna means his name, his qualities, his fame, his friends, his paraphernalia, his entourage. All these are included. Whenever we speak of King, it is to be understood that he is surrounded by ministers. So we should understand that Krishna, he does pastimes only with his devotees, not non-devotees. Then Venu Madhurya, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are so many chapters, also Bhagavatam also, there is a Venu Gita. So Krishna's flute is very melodious. So the gopis, they tell Mother Yashoda, when your son play on his flute, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Indra, although they are supposed to be the greatest learned scholars and personalities, all become bewildered, although they are all very great personalities. By hearing sound of Krishna's flute, they humbly bow down and become grave for from studying the sound vibration. So there is one place in Vrindavan where Krishna used to play his flute at Nandagaon, calling all the cows. So from Krishna's flute, there are 8 varieties of sounds they come. So also it is mentioned that Brahma Gayatri, everything comes from Krishna's flute. So I'll briefly explain what happens when Krishna he blows the first note, second note, like that. It is mentioned that when Krishna he plays the first meter, it is called Rag Mandhar. All the demigods, including Indra and even Anant Shesh, they completely become bewildered. They stop their work. So when Krishna plays the second note, it is mentioned that the moon and the clouds they stop moving. When Krishna plays the third meter, it is mentioned that Yamuna she starts flowing backward. When Krishna plays the fourth meter, it is mentioned that all the cows, the calf, all other bees and animals, they become still. They don't make any sound. The cows, they stop eating grass. The calf, they stop drinking milk. The fifth meter Krishna which plays, it is only heard by the gopis. It is exclusively for the gopis. And then when Krishna plays the sixth meter, the autumn season is manifest, Vasant Rutu. When Krishna he plays the seventh meter, all the 6 seasons they are manifest. And when Krishna plays the eighth meter, the flute will bring Radharani wherever she is in front of Lord Krishna. It's called Venu Madhurya. There are a good number of pastimes mentioned in Bhaktirasamrita Sindhu about the Krishna's flute. Krishna's flute, there are 3, Venu, Murli and Vamshi. Murli is 6 inches, Venu is 8 inches, and Vamshi is 18 inches. Then the last quality of Lord Krishna, Rupa Goswami mentions, is Rupa Madhurya. His beauty is unparalleled. So Uddhava tells Vidura, my dear sir, Krishna's form was most wonderful when he appeared on this planet and exhibited the potency of his internal potency. His wonderful attractive form was present during his pastime on this planet, and by his internal potency, he exhibited his opulences, which are striking to everyone. His personal beauty was so great that there was no necessity for him wearing ornaments on his body. In fact, instead of ornaments beautifying Krishna, Krishna's beauty enhanced the ornaments. So in Vrindavan Gokul pastimes, oftentimes the gopis they complain to Yashoda, see these ornaments what you are putting on Krishna's body, they shine, and in that way they find out the better Krishna and Balram. So better you don't put the ornaments on them. But another gopi, she refuted, no, 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 no. Actually, these 2 boys, their body itself, it shines. Even if they go in a dark place, from their body a radiance comes. From that radiance only they can make out what is kept where. So Krishna's body is self-effulgent. Rupa Madhurya means there are unlimited pastimes. It is one time it is mentioned in Dwarka. Krishna, he saw his reflection in one of the pillars, and Krishna himself got attracted to that beauty. Also in Vrindavan pastimes, it is mentioned that often the gopis they told Krishna, you don't decorate yourself. If you decorate yourself, then you will not look at us. So this way, today, in brief, I tried to cover this 64 qualities. This is like a tip of the iceberg. Hare Krishna. So anyone has any question or comment? So Prabhupada explains that even if we were able to count the atoms after smashing the earth into powder, still it will not be possible to estimate the unfathomable transcendental qualities of Lord, it is said that Lord Anantadev has tried to expound the transcendental qualities of Supreme Lord with his numberless tongues, and that for numberless years together it has been impossible to estimate the qualities of Lord Krishna. This what Prabhupada quotes Ananta Shesh. Even Chaitanya Charitamrita Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami quotes Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Dandot Prabhu.
Yeah, Dandot Prabhuji. One small question, Prabhu, if I may ask, Prabhu.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Prabhuji, one statement was given that Krishna is all worshipable, one of the qualities, all worshipable.
Yeah.
Always this question was intriguing for me, Prabhu, that during the tenure of Krishna, only 150 to 200 personalities only know that he was a supreme personality of Godhead. Is that right, Prabhu?
Yeah. Okay. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samanvita. So if we see, Prabhupada also writes, the Pandavas, Kunti Maharani, Draupadi, Bhishma, Dronacharya, and Kripacharya, even this thing, what you say, Karna, he came to know in the end that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. But because Krishna, he explains, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogo Mayam Samavitam Mudo Yam Na Janati Loko Mam Ajam Avem. So Krishna, it is not necessary that everyone will come to know. Like Shishupal, his complete life he couldn't understand Lord Krishna, Shishupal. And also by Krishna's, there are two energies of Krishna. One is Yoga Maya, one is Mahamaya. So by the potency of Yoga Maya, Krishna covers the thought process. Like when Yashoda, she saw Krishna's mouth complete all the universes, she was bewildered. But Krishna withdraw her thinking, feeling, willing. So similarly, the covered boys, they defeat Krishna and they think, I am more powerful than Krishna. So this way, what we see here, that quality, basically it is mentioned that Krishna is worshipable in all situations of life, in all circumstances, but all can't understand because of their forgetfulness of Krishna, whatever it is. During Krishna's manifest pastimes also, what we see, there were so many enemies of Krishna, but that doesn't affect Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. And anything you want to know more?
Yes, Prabhu. That's it, Prabhu. I mean, actually, that many great personalities know about him, and like Duryodhana and all. I mean, despite around his surroundings, most of the personalities know. Despite knowing Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead, how he could not,
No, there is one nice verse in Mahabharata. Duryodhana says, I know what is dharma, what is adharma, but somehow something is impelling me not to follow you, what you say. So it is mentioned that Krishna, because his seat is in everyone's heart. So Krishna, the 18 days Mahabharata war, basically Krishna is the person behind everything, all the events that took place. But all can't understand that how Krishna is doing this everything. There was one king from Udupi. He took this thing catering for both sides, and it is mentioned that he used to keep one cup of groundnuts in Krishna's tent, and in the morning, whatever Krishna he took in his hand, the remaining groundnuts he used to count by multiplication, and he knew whatever Krishna picked up in his hand, that many will be killed that day. So you can imagine the mathematics. Yeah. Very few people knew what Krishna is going to do.
Yes.
So even Arjuna, he thought, yes, I won the war. But what happened the last day when they came after the war? So Krishna, he told Arjuna, you get down. Usually Krishna, because he was a charioteer, Krishna is to get down first. So this day, what Krishna, he told Arjuna, you get down first. But Arjuna was insisting, no, you get down first. Krishna, he said, I have some reason to be back. You better get down. So the moment Arjuna, he walked little away, so Hanumanji, he flew. He was sitting on the flag. So then when Krishna, he left their chariot, so the chariot went into flames completely, including the horses, everything burnt. So Arjuna was taken back. So Krishna, he told, because of my power, I was holding all the power of the weapons which were fired at your chariot. Because of me, that potency, my potential, it was held back. So now I have come out and I have withdrawn my power. So now that went into flame. So it's very difficult to understand in material world. Manushanam sahasreshu. And it very, very difficult. All can't understand Krishna.
Got it, Prabhu.
Okay, bro. Okay,
Thank
bro.
you very much, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Hare
So we'll conclude.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry.
No
question, Prabhuji.
problem. Yeah, yes.
Prabhuji, in the I think 13th quality, Krishna is a genius person. Prabhuji, you mentioned, and in that Radharani asks, "What is your vasa?" And in that, Prabhuji, like vasa has 3 meanings, right, Prabhuji? But what was Krishna's answer, Prabhuji? Sorry, I might have missed it, but
And a 13th number quality.
13th, Prabhuji, 13th vasa. Yeah, Krishna is a genius person. In that, Radharani asks a question.
Vasa means, residence. Residence means Vasa. In Sanskrit, Vasa means Srinivasa.
Okay.
You have the Srinivasa. Means Vasa means Nivasa, means where you stay. It's called Vasa. Vasa means Radharani asked, where is your residence? So in Vrindavan pastimes, because time was not there too much, so there are so many pastimes whereby sorry, Radharani, Krishna is to do word jugglery. So Radharani asked, yes. He said, I am Hari. So she said, Hari means lion. So lion is supposed to be in the forest. What you are doing here? So that way, Vasa means play of residence.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Bro. So happy Ekadasi to everyone. So we'll conclude.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes.
Dandu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.